Hello guys, welcome back. This is Bushcraft Family. This is a podcast thingy, that I've been playing around with. So I'd figured I'd go over something that's been digging at me for a while now. Everybody knows the East Palestine incident, whatever you want to call it. Some call it a conspiracy. Some call it is the way of life now. What will be happening to railroads and trucks that tip over and have accidents. A lot of it does not make any sense at all. I scratch my head trying to figure out what the heck. And then you start digging into some of the things that has went on with this. The whole dump and burn. This has never been done. This is like since 1980, it was banned not to do the dump and burn thing. All the way from 1980. It's always what they do. They dump it and then they dig all the ground up until they get to where it's just regular soil and whatnot. And they haul all that soil away to landfills, or they burn it in a controlled environment to where it doesn't go out into in the air and whatnot. But the fact that they decide, let's dump it out and burn it. That's who thinks this? They had the thing is, the tanks, they weren't compromised. They may have been banged up and whatnot, but they could have offloaded it onto other tanks. Or what they do is dump and remove. It just they've done this at other places. North Dakota, they just had a chemical spill with a train derailed up there. They didn't burn it. They dumped and they removed it. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like somebody woke up, whoever was in charge of this, and say, well, let's do opposite day. Let's do the opposite of what should be done. And the very worst possible thing they could have done is dump and burn. Worst possible thing that could have been done in this. This chemical was banned from being delivered via train. And it just got removed from this list after, I forget how many years, multiple years. And then bam, derailment. And what's being hauled? The same chemical they removed from this list. The banned list for trains to be using it to haul. A 2022 EPA guidance, which says how to interpret laws and regulations, repeats the ban on dump and burn except only after careful consideration when there is absolutely no other alternative, which has never been in civilized society. Makes no sense. Why was this a thing that was okay to burn this stuff off? And who pays for this? It's the citizens of this area, and everybody that was downwind from this, everybody that the water that ties into this. It still makes no sense. There was no fire lines pulled to keep the tankers cold, so that this wasn't an issue. No samples of soot or wipe samples from inside the tanker cars, missing crucial data that would reveal the true nature of the incident. Point source soot samples are also missing. That would tell everything. Decisions to breach, dump, and burn was totally intentional, and nobody understood it. The more experienced people have, the less they understood. The EPA was involved. It cannot merely be a bystander. No state or federal emergencies were declared. Again, no state or federal emergencies were declared during this whole process. And this was depriving government of emergency powers and agendas and agencies of certain kinds of authority now from, the sickness thing. How much power a state of emergency grants. In this case, that was never done. And they had determined that the pressure valves that were on these tanks were working fine. The NTSB report, the tanker cars were not in jeopardy at all. Other reports say that the VCM was not in jeopardy of exploding, and besides, they can easily decanter it into tankers and trucks, as it's been done regularly, and that's the normal, is what they do. If something like this happens, they can pull trucks up, they can unload this chemical and safely dispose of it the way it's supposed to be, not dump and burn. Why? Everybody should be asking this question. Why was this told? Who says this? It makes no sense. It's banned. You're not allowed to do this. And yet, that was the first choice that came up. No, let's not unload it. Let's burn it. Not to mention, there were 5 scientists that died in an airplane crash. Who were at the East Palestine scene taking samples on behalf of the railroad and took the samples with them. And they died en route to their next mission. And so did the samples. Hello, people. Why is this not like major news? These scientists that were down there taking samples of this stuff. Does this seem like a cover-up? Am I being a weird conspiracy person here? These are all, everybody can look this stuff up. It's not being hidden. What will, and that's the thing, what do you think that is being hidden? If they're not hiding, like all these samples and these 5 scientists that took these samples from the area to determine how bad it was and what the impact of it's going to be for the future of people in Ohio and Pennsylvania, New York, wherever this cloud went to, and wherever this is going down into the water, because it's made its way all the way to the Ohio River. From the Ohio River, this is not mentioning all the little rivers that come off of the Ohio River, into the Mississippi, into the Gulf. Is there anybody checking samples of the waterways and everything on the route that this would have taken? People are still sick in East Palestine. Still to this day. It makes, why is this just brushed away? You don't hear about it in the news anymore. That's what got me thinking, why is it not in the top part of the news? Why is this stuff, it just reported on it? And some of these chemicals that are currently banned from production by federal law and the company that had these chemicals they're banned from production by voluntary agreement with chemical industries. What? Why? Why were they being transported? Why were these chemicals released from the no transport by train? And then right there, almost the perfect place. They even made a movie about this happening in the same place. Why is this not waking people up into there's something bigger going on here? And we may not know about this until years and years down the road. What is the plan for this? There was no reason at all to dump and burn this stuff. There's just no reason at all. They could have unloaded this. They could have just dumped it and do what they usually do. Pick up the dirt, fill it in with regular topsoil, and then no more would have been said about this at all. It would have just been a year down the road. It'd say, oh, this is what happened a year ago. Train derailed. They cleaned it up. Everything's good. Now, people are still sick in the area. There's still no fish in the water, but the water is safe to drink. Well, guys, I think I'm about done with the subject, even though I'm not. Still have many, many questions. This is one of the big cover-ups that will be talked about in the future, I'm sure. At least I hope it will be. Until next time, God bless.